Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. ISKCON founder Acharya Jagat Guru Shri Bhakti Vedanta Swami Līlāmṛta ki jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajagatacharya Astuta Rasita Sri Srimati Mangesh Sri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupāda ki jai. Ananta Guru Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopal Gopina Shanku Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki jai. Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Mathura Dham ki jai. Navadvip Mayapur Dham ki jai. Jagannath Puri Dham ki jai. Jamuna Mai ki jai. Ganges Mai ki jai. Tulasi Devi ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Nitai Gauda Premanande. All glorious assembled devotees. All glorious assembled devotees. All glorious assembled devotees. All glorious Shishi Guru Shri Gauranga. Namo Vishnu Padya Krishna Prati Buddha Shmati Vrati Sham Shri Krishna Prabhupada Shri Gaura Karana Shakti Vati Chati Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshul Militam Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Mano Vistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadam Bhayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Reading from Prabhupāda Līlāmṛta. Struggling alone. Struggling alone. Struggling alone. The paradox at 64 East 7th Street on the Lower East Side was a restaurant dedicated to the philosophy of George Oswald and the microbiotic diet. It was a storefront below street level with small dining tables placed around the candle-lit room. The food was inexpensive and well reputed. Tea was served free, as much as you like. More than just a restaurant, the paradox was a center for spiritual and cultural interest, a meeting place reminiscent of certain Greenwich Village or Paris caves and cafes in the 1920s. A person could spend the whole day at the paradox without buying anything, and no one will complain. The crowd at the paradox was a mystical congregation, interested in teachings from the East. When news of the new Swami uptown at Dr. Mishra's reached the paradox, the word spread quickly. Harvey Cohen, a freelance artist, and Bill Epstein, a worker at the Paradox, were friends. After Harvey had been to Bhaktivedanta Swami's place at Dr. Mishra's yoga studio, a few times, he came by the paradox and began to describe all about the new Swami to Bill and other friends. Bill Epstein was a dashing, romantic person with a long, wavy dark hair and a beard. He was good looking and efficient and took upon himself a role of informing people at the restaurant of the city's spiritual news. Once he became interested in new Swami, he made him an ongoing topic of conversation at the restaurant. The new group from the Paradox was young and hype, in contrast to the older, more conservative uptown people who had been attending Bhaktivedanta Swami's classes. In those days, it was still unusual to see a young man with a long hair and a beard. And when such people started coming to the Swami's meetings on the west side, some of the older people were alarmed, as one of them noted. Swami Bhaktivedanta began to pick up another kind of people. He picked them up at the Bori or in some attics, and they came with the phony hats and grey blankets wrapped around themselves, and they startled me. David Allen, a 21-year-old seeker who came up from the Paradox, had just moved to the city, optimistically attracted by what he had read about experimentation with drugs. He saw the whole group as a kind of fused-bodied group of older women on the east side, listening to the Swami's lectures. David, we weren't known as hippies then, but it was strange for the people who had originally been attracted to him. It was different for them to relate to this new group. I think most of the teachers from India up to that time had older followers, and sometimes wealthy widows will provide a source of income. But Swamiji changed right away to the younger, poorer group of people. The next thing that happened was that Bill Epstein had others, and others began talking about how it would be better for the Swami to come downtown, the Lower East Side. Things were really happening down there, and somehow they weren't happening uptown. People downtown really needed him. Downtown was right, and it was ripe. There was life down there. There was a lot of energy going around. Someone broke into the room 307 while Bhaktivedanta Swami was out and stole his typewriter and tape recorder. When Bhaktivedanta Swami returned to the building, the janitor informed him of the theft. An unknown burglar had broken the transom glass, climbed through, taken the valuables, and escaped. As Bhaktivedanta Swami listened, he became convinced that the janitor himself was the culprit. Of course, he couldn't prove it, so he accepted the loss with disappointment. Bhaktivedanta Swami had lost his spirit for living in room 307. Although some friends had offered replacement for his old typewriter and tape recorder, what would prevent the janitor from stealing again? Harvey Cohen and Bill Epstein had advised him to relocate downtown and had assured him of a more interested following people among the young people there. It had been an attractive proposal. Now Habe was going to leave New York and go to California, and he offered his lot on the Bowery for the Swami to share with David Allen. Bhaktivedanta Swami accepted. As he was preparing to leave his 72nd Street address, an acquaintance, an electrician who worked in the building, came to warn him. The Bowery was no place for a gentleman, he protested. It was the most corrupt place in the world. The Swami's things had been stolen from rooms 307, but moving to the Bowery was not the answer. Bhaktivedanta Swami, however, was undaunted. Bhaktivedanta Swami lived on the Bowery, sitting under a small light, while hundreds of derelicts also sat under hundreds of naked light on the same city block. He had no more fixed income than the derelicts, nor any greater security of a fixed residence. Yet, his consciousness was different. He was translating Srimad Bhagavatam into English, speaking to the world through his Bhaktivedanta purports. His duty, whether on the 14th floor of a Riverside Drive apartment building or in the corner of a Bowery loft, was to establish Krishna consciousness as a prime necessity for all humanity. He went on with his translating and with his constant vision of a Krishna temple in New York City. Because his consciousness was absorbed in Krishna's universal mission, he did not depend on his surroundings for shelter. Home for him was not a matter of bricks and wood, but of taking shelter of Krishna in every circumstance. As Bhaktivedanta Swami had said to his friends uptown, "Everywhere is my home." Whereas, without Krishna's shelter, the whole world will be a desolate place. News of the Swami's move to the Bowery loft spread, mostly by word of mouth, at the Paradox restaurant. And people began to come by in the evening to chant with him. The musical kirtans were especially popular on the Bowery, since the Swami's new congregation consisted mostly of local musicians and artists, who responded more to the transcendental music than to the philosophy. Every morning, he would hold class on Srimad Bhagavatam, attended by David Allen, a boy named Robert Nelson, and one other boy. And occasionally, he would teach cooking to whoever was interested. He was usually available for personal talks with any inquiring visitors or with his new roommate. Bhaktivedanta Swami held his evening meetings on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, just as he had uptown. The lot was out of the way for most of his acquaintances, and it was on the Bowery. A cluster of sleeping derelicts regularly blocked the street-level entrance, and visitors would find as many as half a dozen bumps to step over before climbing the 4th flight of the stairs. But it was something new. You could go and sit with a group of hip people and watch the Swami lead kirtan. The room was dimly lit, and Bhaktivedanta Swami would burn incense. Many casual visitors came and went. Almost all of Bhaktivedanta Swami's Gauri friends were musicians or friends of musicians. They were into music, drugs, women, and spiritual meditation. Because Bhaktivedanta Swami's presentation of the Hare Krishna mantra was both musical and meditative, they were automatically interested. For the Gauri crowd, sound was spirit and spirit was sound, in a merging of music and meditation. But for Bhaktivedanta Swami, music without the name of God wasn't meditation. It was sense gratification, or at most a kind of stylized impersonal meditation. But he was glad to see the musicians coming to play along with his Christians, to hear him, and to chant responsibly. Some, having stayed up all night playing somewhere on their instrument, will come by in the morning and sing with Swami. It did not dissuade them from their focus on sound. Rather, he gave them sound. In the Vedas, sound is said to be the first element of material creation. The source of sound is God, and God is eternally a person. Bhaktivedanta Swami's emphasis was on getting people to chant God's personal, transcendental name. Whether they took to it as jazz, folk music, rock, or Indian meditation made no difference, as long as they began to chant Hare Krishna. Despite the bad neighborhood where Bhaktivedanta Swami lived and worked, he was rarely disturbed. Often he would find several body bones asleep or unconscious at his door, and he would have to step over them. Sometimes a drunk, simply out of his inability to maneuver, would bump into him, or derelict would mutter something unintelligible or laugh at him. The more sober ones will stand and gesture courteously, ushering the Swami into it or out of his door at 94 Gauri. He will pass among them, acknowledging their good manners as they cleared his path. Certainly, few of the body men and others who saw him on his walks knew much about the small, elderly Indian sadhu, dressed in saffron and carrying an umbrella and a brown grocery sack. Sitting cross-legged, his back to the shelf, with its assortment of potted plants, whitish chadar wrapped in wide, loose folds across his body. Bhaktivedanta Swami looked grave, almost sorrowful. The picture and an accompanying article appeared in the June issue of the Village Voice. The article read, "The meeting of the musical West and practical East come alive in the curious contrast between A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami and his American disciples. The Swami, a cultivated man of 70 with a distinguished education, is here for a year to preach his gospel of peace, goodwill, nearness to God, and more practically to raise money for his American church. Like his teachings, The Swami is sensible and direct. His main teaching is that mankind may come closer to God by reciting His holy name. Despite the fact that the Swami came to America to seek out the root of godless and materialism, a disease, he said, that has already enveloped India. He is a realistic man. If there is any place on earth with money to build a temple, it is here. The Swami wishes to found in America an international society for Krishna consciousness, which will be open for anyone, including women. Yeah, that is Prabhupada. Is it not? There is nothing he has not experienced. Nothing. Everything. He experienced it all. But you see his determination. It's very strong. The determination is strong because everything he's doing is doing with a purpose. He is purpose driven. I will say that most of our confusions, problems, and all that, all the difficulties we are passing, our setback, whatever, is because we have no purpose driven. That may sound, what are you talking? Huh? Am I not purpose driven to? I know why I came to Krishna consciousness. One may say like that. Are we not purpose driven? Huh? Are we not? To be a Krishna devotee, isn't the purpose driven? Is it not? Yeah, purpose driven. Are you sure? One who is purpose driven is a successful person. Say successful person. A purpose-driven person is a successful person. See Prabhupada. With all the challenges, everything is going opposite him. From India to America, everything was going opposite him. Opposite. What happened? He continued. That is purpose-driven person. He's purpose-driven. Many of us are just existing. Like a full ball in the water, on the water. If it's a flowing river, it will flow down. If it's a swimming pool, it will go any direction. Any direction it will go. If the breeze is going this way, it will go. If the breeze goes that side, it will go. If the breeze is going this way, it will go. But a purpose-driven person doesn't go any direction. There has one direction that he follows. In other words, he's never deterred. never deters. This is what we are seeing with Prabhupada. It's fixed. Very fixed. Whatever happens, he never forget his goal. Simply following that, he's going on and on and on. And eventually, everything became manifest because he's purpose driven. Unnecessary advice does not affect him. Opposite situation does not affect him. All the environmental forces that goes against the planet never affect him. He is fixed, purpose driven. He wants to establish International Society for Christian Consciousness in America to begin with, and then all over the world. He did it alone, not two, alone, one person. He did it because he's purpose driven. Have you asked yourself, why am I in Christian consciousness? Have you asked yourself this question? Have you asked yourself, why am I in this movement? You didn't get my question? Have you done that? Long time ago, you asked yourself, why am I in this movement? Right? You got the answer? Did you get the answer? You never get the answer. You see? I'm correct. I'm correct. We are football. When the water, they pumped football, not a flat one, they pumped football on the water. So the breeze is blowing, and we're following that direction. A purpose-driven Krishna conscious devotee will have asked himself or herself this question: why am I in Krishna consciousness? You get the answer. You get the answer. Because that is the beginning of the journey. The question is just the beginning. You have not gone far yet. Because there are so many questions to ask. So if we have gotten the answer, it means you are progressing, you are moving forward. If you have not gotten the answer, it means you are not moving forward. Because if you have gotten the answer, I'm here in Krishna consciousness for this. Then you will have asked yourself, am I doing it? Am I doing it? That's the second question. Am I doing it? And you will be shocked to yourself. When you ask yourself this question, am I doing it? That is not even the end. Even if you get the answer yes, how am I doing it? How? Yes, I'm doing it, but how? How are we doing it? The way it should be to get the result I'm looking for, or I'm just doing anything. As a purpose-driven person, a purpose-driven devotee, think like this. That's what Prabhupada is teaching. All right? Hare Krishna. Comment? Question? Yes, bro. Hare Krishna.
C'est tellement important le dévot dit ces gens les choses là constamment chaque jour.
Say this scripture again is very important. This is what you are experiencing every day.
Chaque jour que tu sois niveau interne ou externe, dès que tu franchis le portail du temple, en même temps il y a des attaques qui commencent. Bataille, le dévot est un peu seul, livré à des attaques externes.
See, anytime that what is it?
Dès que le dévot soit interne ou externe, dès qu'il franchit le portail du temple là, c'est comme une bataille qui commence.
See that devotee will stay in or outside temple. Once they come to the temple, they are always attacked, both from both sides.
Donc, il y a tellement de sortes d'attaques, des attaques grossières et des attaques subtiles.
So there's a gross attack and subtle ones also.
Voilà, donc il voulait m'appuyer sur les attaques subtiles.
So you want to draw
Il veut voir juste parler des attaques subtiles.
C'est un commentaire, mais c'est une question.
Bon. Non, c'est un commentaire, même ta question.
So you want to discuss more about the subtle attack.
Donc, il y a des personnes qui ne peuvent pas te dire directement, non, abandonne la personne de Krishna. Il ne peut pas te dire directement d'abandonner la personne de Krishna.
D'abandonner.
Il ne peut pas te dire ça directement. Il y a des personnes qui ne peuvent pas te dire directement, laisse tomber la personne de Krishna. Il ne peut pas se courage.
See, there are some people they will not tell you directly that should leave Krishna consciousness.
Comme Marais l'a dit, souvent, s'il faut passer pour des bons conseillers.
But as you mentioned, those also they will come pretend as to be a good advisor.
Voilà, tu es encore jeune, tu dois chercher un bon travail, tu es un peu bizarre, tu ne fais que prier chaque jour.
You are young, better for you to go in for a job. You waste your time, pray all the time.
Tu vois. Donc, ainsi de suite, bon, tu as des enfants, laisse les enfants grandir, manger de la bonne nourriture. Voilà. Tu dois chercher une
Because you have to kids, let your kid grow up nicely, let them eat well. You have to come and waste your time in temple or do different service.
Voilà. Donc, bref, il ne faut pas tout énumérer. Donc, vraiment, Marais nous donne sa miséricorde pour vraiment échapper à ça. Sinon, la majorité des dévots tombent dans ce piège-là.
So you should repay your blessings so that we can escape such trap. But most devotees are fall into such trap for some time.
Yes. It is to be expected.
C'est ce qu'on doit espérer.
You should expect challenges.
On doit espérer l'état pour le temps.
It is a mistake for one to think that we are going to Hare Krishna temple, and as soon as you enter there, you are in Vaikuntha, and everything is completely perfect. Yes, that is Vaikuntha in the material world, not Vaikuntha in Vaikuntha spiritual world.
Des gens ont l'erreur de penser que quand tu viens dans le mouvement, toutes les personnes finies que tu as avec Vaikuntha. Oui, ça c'est vrai, mais c'est une erreur, parce que ça c'est le compte au niveau matériel. Là où tu vas sentir la paix, ça peut être au niveau spirituel.
See, Prabhupada is struggling here alone.
Prabhupada souffrait alone.
His mission master gave him order to spread Christian consciousness all over the world.
Son maître spirituel a donné l'instruction de prêcher la conscience de Krishna dans le monde entier.
His guru told him, preach in the West. He didn't tell him to preach in India. He said, preach in the West. That was the instruction.
Son guru a dit de prêcher à l'Occident.
So he preached the whole world
On a prêché tout le monde entier,
with a lot of difficulties.
avec beaucoup de difficultés.
See, his typewriter is stolen. His recorder is stolen.
Ce qui compte pour traduire a été volé, son enregistreur a été volé.
He wrote a letter to his godbrothers, please support me so we can have a temple, no answer.
Il a écrit à ses frères spirituels de le soutenir, mais ils n'ont pas voulu.
And they were accusing him.
Ils l'ont accusé.
He's going to bring these American people to come and sell drugs.
Il est en train de venir des voies américaines pour venir vendre la drogue.
Some people say their bid bag is containing drugs. The drugs are keeping there.
On a vu que le ça que la drogue.
But it is expected in the material world, these challenges will be there.
Ce genre de choses sont des choses qu'on doit s'attendre dans cela.
Challenges are different according to places. They're different, but challenges is compulsory.
Donc les challenges, les difficultés sont de façon différente, mais ça doit être aussi on doit attendre ça.
That is why we are talking about purpose-driven devotee. The Christian concept, purpose-driven devotee.
On parle de quelqu'un qui disons,
purpose-driven Krishna devotee. Christian conscious, yes.
Quelqu'un qui est fixe dans sa prochaine de Krishna, qui sait ce qu'il veut faire, déterminé sur sa route. Donc quelqu'un qui est déterminé sur la prochaine de Krishna.
So when challenges come, you'll be equal to it. You'll not be disturbed.
Quelqu'un qui sait là où il va, quelles que soient les difficultés, il remain fixe, il sait où il va.
Like Prabhupada
Comme Prabhupāda.
and all other acharyas,
Comme aussi les autres acharyas.
they face the same problem.
Ils ont vécu la même situation.
So if we know what we are looking for in Christian consciousness, nothing will push you away. Good advice or bad advice, it will not affect you.
Lorsqu'on sait ce qu'on veut dans la vie de Krishna, rien ne va nous faire sortir de cela. Que ce soit de mauvais conseils ou de bons conseils.
You're intelligent.
Si on est intelligent,
Someone is inside
quelqu'un à l'intérieur,
and is telling you, don't waste our time to come here. Don't waste our time to come here.
et la personne te dit ne perds pas de temps pour rester ici.
You ask the person,
Donc, tu dois être dans la personne.
this place is very bad.
Là où tu restes, c'est pas bon.
Why are you there?
Pourquoi tu es là?
Why are you still staying here?
Pourquoi tu restes là?
Let me also stay here and see what we are seeing. Then I'll make my choice.
Laisse-moi aussi, je vais rester là et puis voir comment c'est mauvais.
I'll make my choice myself. Not from you. I'll make my own choice.
Je fais mon choix moi-même.
So let me also stay here also.
Laisse-moi aussi rester là.
That is, if you are purpose driven,
Ça, c'est quand
you will think like this.
tu peux penser comme ça.
If you are not purpose driven, yeah. Okay, let me
C'est
go.
parce que tu vas toujours être con.
And the Maya will laugh at you. See, it's not serious.
Mais elle va se moquer de toi. Elle va se rire.
So you should be purpose driven.
Non, on doit fixer.
We should know why we are here
On doit savoir pourquoi on est là.
and check what we're supposed to do here.
C'est ce qu'on doit savoir.
Ask ourselves if we are doing it. How are we doing it?
Comment on fait ça?
If you maintain this principle, you make advancement very fast.
Et là, quand tu maintiens ce principe, tu vas faire un avancement très rapide.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Bon, le malade avait dit qu'il faut qu'on ait un but dans la conscience de Krishna.
Shall they mention that we should have a goal in Krishna consciousness?
Yes.
Non, comme ce sont les mêmes pratiques que nous faisons là, qui nous donnent un but quoi, pour que nous tous en suivre.
So it's the same practice that all of us are following. So she wants you to tell us a particular goal that we should all focus on it.
Parce que avant que je ne connaisse la conscience de Krishna, bon, je faisais des pratiques pour mettre fin à la mort. Je faisais des pratiques quoi, pour mettre fin à vivre pour faire chose pour ne plus mourir quoi. Et puis Médette, mais ça n'avait rien à voir avec la conscience de Krishna.
She said before she became a devotee, she was doing a lot of practice, mystical practice, trying to end up death. Reincarnation.
Voilà, c'est ça. Donc quand j'ai obtenu la conscience de Krishna, là, qui nous disent le but de la conscience de Krishna, c'est la libération, c'est pour mettre fin à la mort, ou bien c'est pour apprendre à chose, mourir quoi, comme l'enseignement du Prabhupāda.
So in that case, she said now that she's a devotee, she wants to know what is the main goal of being Krishna consciousness. Is it to end up the cycle of birth and death? Is it what?
C'est pour la libération, c'est
For liberation or to make end of death?
Srila Prabhupada, he named this movement a Society for Krishna Consciousness.
Prabhupada a nommé le mouvement la Société pour la conscience de Krishna.
By developing pure love for Krishna, pure, sweet, transcendental love for Krishna. This is what we are practicing. Go Krishna here. Hare Krishna.
Wasn't Krishna consciousness. I always was Krishna. But that's not how I was going to Islamic. But later, I was as if I was having a vacuum in my heart and joy. I was even work, most times when it's starting, if that place is not for me, I have this internet, something you're not in the right place. You're not in the right place. I remember one thing they visited in temple because I have to ask the problem, why is it like that? That I'm having this, where I am, I'm not feeling myself. I'm not feeling myself. It's as if I'm lost. It's as if I'm not doing anything. It's as if once I have come to this world, I'm not doing it. I have asked myself several questions about it. Why am I on this? Why am I on this? Why am I existing? I was even thinking, maybe something is actually I should be asking myself this thing. But since I came to Islam, since I came to Bhakti, such thing has not happened to me. Okay, it's as if my mind is at peace, my soul is at peace. So the next question that is within me is, Krishna, how will I serve you?
Very good.
How will I serve you? So that has been what I've been doing. For you saying it today, you have clarified all my doubts, all my pains, all my service, and all that. Thank you.
Very good. You're in the right place. You have found your home. Eternal home. So that is where you are. So the proof is that you are happy. The questions you have been asking disappeared. So now you have a different question. How can I serve you? That is perfect. Great fortune. So take the Krishna consciousness seriously. primary thing in your life. That's the primary thing. Everything else, so this is a byproduct. It's just a byproduct. These secondary things that maybe because I have this material body, but the main thing is Krishna. I'm here for pure Krishna consciousness. So, if you read every day, you should hear every day, you should chant every day, you must serve every day. How many things? 4 things. These are compulsory things. We have 4 regulative principles we have been discussing. 4 regulative principles. Above the 4 regulative principles, I have eternal principle which you must do every, just like nitya karma, eternal activity, which is part of the soul. That just like breathing, right? It's every day. Eating, it's every day. Sleeping, talking, it's every day. Similarly, there are principles which are eternal to the soul. Chanting, hearing, reading the scriptures, doing service for Krishna, and attend proper set morning and evening program would be attended. Use the word must be in the spiritual world. This should be your focus, and nothing else will have any meaning. Hare Krishna. Prabhupāda ki jai.